Okay, so let's talk about the Phantom Doctrine and run through some of the early impressions of why I think the game is good and that it deserves your support. However, I feel like I'm going to do a pretty bad job at showing off why I think that, as the Phantom Doctrine is without doubt a mixed bag. Firstly, it's hard not to compare the two, so let's just get that out of the way now. This is not XCOM. It's not XCOM 2 Plus, it's not XCOM 3. This is entirely separate. The gameplay is obviously heavily inspired from XCOM, and I think its fans are most likely to pick this title up just on that alone. However, this is a spy espionage take on the turn-based genre, and it might seem obvious to most that that would mean a much slower and stealthy approach, but I think it's the first thing that people need to know about this game. This is a stealth game first and foremost. The game will punish you should you be detected or you make stupid mistakes, and shooting your way out of any situation, in my experience anyway, it seems to be heavily discouraged. So it's worth noting to not go into this title expecting the gunplay and the same action that XCOM provides. But anyway, enough with the XCOM comparisons, let's get into what this game is all about. So here we have your base of operations. This is like your spy business hideout. It's the main hub, and obviously it looks very similar to other turn-based hubs. You have exactly what you would expect from other games, so you've got your workshops, your hospitals, all of the stuff that this genre is used to by now. Now, whilst you're in your base, the time in the game has been paused. There's no activity going on around the world unless you specifically tell the game that you want it to. So this gives you time to explore, sort out your agents, sort out your equipment, get them up to good health. And you're going to have to get used to it because you're going to be spending a lot of time in this hub world, especially over in the intel room. During missions, you can loot items and intel which can be brought here. Going through the intel means reading through pages after pages of different dossiers, seeing different locations, pulling out the keywords, and then eventually you'll start to piece together small stories and you'll hear about these other agents who are working against you or working with different plots. These ultimately unlock different missions which you can then fly out to and solve in your own time. This is excellent. This really does throw you into the mind of a spy, and it feels really good once you piece together multiple different pieces of information and unlock something. It's just extremely rewarding and satisfying to play through. However, due to the amount of intel that you're going to be going through, this can dry up and become a chore pretty quickly. Whilst recording this footage, I spent 18 minutes just putting cases together, only to complete them and unlock even more intel, which started the process again. It becomes tiresome quickly should you not be in the mood to read wall after wall of text, and you can just take the lazy approach and start pulling strings all over the place, waiting for the pins just to go green. Once all of the strings are in place and you've solved the case, your handler or other characters will pop up and give you a summary of what you've just been doing. Some will love this mode and some will just see it as a chore, but personally for me, it's a mechanic that I feel the more you put into it, then the more you will get out of it. If you want to go through and read every last detail and piece it together all by yourself, then the sense of accomplishment will be great. But if you're a bit more like me and you just want to burn through quickly, maybe just looking out for the green pins is the way to go, as this can be extremely time consuming. As I said, just recording this footage, I solved 3 cases and it took me 18 minutes. And then the game crashed. Luckily, the saves are extremely frequent and I lost absolutely no progress once I booted the game back up. But now enough of the intel, I want to dive into the world map. This is how the game works, sending your agents out to different locations around the world, conducting recon, investigating suspicious activity, talking to informants, all of that jazz. Certain events will be popping up all the time, and it's up to you to decide what's worth sending agents out to and what's not. False flags and big mission story plots are all randomized and tied in together, so it's really down to you to keep your finger on the pulse of the game to stay ahead. Now for the rest of the video, I'm just going to run through a mission which was unlocked by me solving one of those intel cases in the previous footage. Light spoilers, my handler got killed and we need to go find his body to salvage any intel that he may have had on him. It's actually hidden in a false tooth, which is pretty cool. So obviously, before you start a mission, you can set up however many agents you're allowed to take in. Here I've got 3 and I can jump through different equipments and stuff of what they're taking in. Nothing unusual here, all the same stuff which we've come to expect. And just quickly here on the loading screens, obviously you can see all of the primary objectives are listed down in the left. Some missions will have secondary objectives. I had one the other day where I had to rescue an informant. However, the secondary objective was to eliminate all of the hitmen, but completely optional. It's just little bonuses, which I think adds a little bit more to the gameplay. Okay, so once you've spawned into the map, this is something that's different which I really enjoy. You can choose where you start. You can have a quick look around the map. Obviously the fog of war is blocking most of it, but you can see most of your objectives floating around. But just getting to choose, here we've only got 2 options, but some are 3, 4 different options of where your starting point is. Just coming into the game here, obviously you can see from the blue lines and stuff, it works exactly the same as XCOM. It's just a case of moving your squad around. Here I'm faced with a door dead in front of me, but I can just see there's a camera on the other side. If I go through that, I'm going to set off alarms and then obviously be detected, and then that is where the aforementioned punishment of the game is going to start to come in, because you need to be stealthy in this. I can't emphasize that enough. Stealth is key. So I'm just having a quick scope around. I can see I've got a guard on the left there, and it's just a case of, in this very early game, just getting inside undetected. So for this particular mission, I decided to split out my team of 3. I found 3 different entry points. One is guarded by a camera, the other one is going through the front door where I'm not technically in a restricted zone, and the third member of my squad has gone round the back into a restricted zone, and he's going to go in through the back door. Now, unfortunately for me here, I tried to go in through the back door. There is a civilian who I just thought it'd be quite easy just to take out without her setting off an alarm. I was wrong. So now my entire squad has been detected. We are now in sort of like the combat zone of the gameplay, I guess. You start off in infiltration, but now it's combat. And this is where everything goes to shit. So obviously now I've been detected, I can send in my guy from the beginning. The cameras don't matter, so I'm going to send him in. So we've got all 3 members in the building. They're all split up, and I genuinely believe at this point that this is going to go fairly well. Now there's just one point which I want to show off here with this guy using Overwatch. Now it's not a case of you just activate it and then if anybody goes in my sightline, I can set the sightline, which is really cool. That's definitely a one-up from XCOM and stuff. I really enjoy how I can determine where my players are looking. Now, the issue with how this game works in terms of difficulty is now that I've been detected, enemy reinforcements are on their way. And from what I can tell from playing other missions, they don't stop coming. So a van will come and drop 2 or 3 off, but then the timer resets, so in another 3 moves, another 2 or 3 turn up again, and so on and so forth. And it makes it just bloody impossible. Now, I know I'm skimming through this footage fairly quickly. I don't want to show too much of the gameplay because this was ultimately quite a long game, because as I said, even though I got detected very quickly, the gameplay is still quite slow and quite long and drawn out, but not that that would be a criticism. That's just how the turn-based aspects of it work. But I get absolutely butchered. If you can't tell that from the footage, as I am skimming through, I made one mistake of going in through the back door where I was detected, and I had my first squad member die within 2 minutes after that, and then both of my other ones were pinned down at the front and at the back. The way that you complete missions in this game, obviously you don't have to kill everybody. As long as you complete the objective, you can just extract straight away. But you start the game with a main character. Your main character has to leave. And because mine is currently dead, I have lost this game entirely. I've known from the off that that was how it was going to be, and I would fail this one. But that is essentially me just showing the difficulty spike here. That was one mistake of I just went into the back door. There was a civilian in there. I didn't get snuck her out fast enough. Honestly, reviewing this footage, I don't know how I was meant to do that. If I would have smashed a window, that would have set off an alarm. If I went through the main door, maybe I could have snuck past one of the guards when, I don't know, they turned their backs or something. But other than that, I really genuinely believe going in through the back door was the right way to go. But clearly, just want to emphasize how that one mistake cost me that entire round. That was about a 15-minute game. And I ruined it within the first 4 minutes, and then it was just hanging on for survival. So again, incredible difficulty spike. I might just be really bad, so that might just be the case. But I've been talking to a few other friends who are playing this, and again, the main thing they keep coming back with is just how difficult it is once you've been detected, which again, I know I'm almost a broken record at this point. Stealth, it is a stealth game. It is a stealth tactical turn-based game. And that is how you have to play it, otherwise this game will clearly kick your ass. Now, at the time of recording, the game currently stands on Steam as having mixed reviews, and I can completely see why, although I really don't think the game deserves it. The gameplay I've just shown might put some people off due to the difficulty, and others might be, or have already typed comments telling me just to get good. And I agree with those comments. I do wholeheartedly think that my performance in the game at the moment is just not understanding all of the mechanics and not understanding how it fully works. What should be encouraged and what should be discouraged is extremely vague and leads to a lot of frustration in the game. It's a lot of trial and error. Now again, I can already see people typing in the comments that they don't want a game to hold their hand and we should just be a big boy and get on with it. And that's completely fine. But for others, This can be a huge turn-off and turn people away from what I believe is genuinely a really great game. At the beginning of the video I showed you how the Intel boards worked on the world map, and ultimately when you first start the game and these tutorials are given to you, it's just not done well enough in my opinion. I found out how everything worked by just clicking on anything and stumbling my way through the first early hours of the game and piecing it all together in my head. Now of course I find it a very rewarding experience knowing how things work, but the first early hours going through these mechanics and the tutorials, it's very frustrating. It's just blind clicking and just hoping that the screen progresses to the next page and hoping that you did something right. It's just in these smaller details of the tutorials and the explanations of mechanics where the game falls down for me in my eyes. It doesn't make it a bad game, I just think a little bit more time could have been put there. And that ultimately leads me to see exactly where this mixed reaction and mixed reviews are coming from. Most players are expecting an action-based spy espionage take on XCOM, but again a much slower paced and punishing game full of half-explained ideas and concepts which take much longer in gameplay than most would be expecting. Again, I just want to be clear, I am fully enjoying the game and I wholeheartedly think it's worth a recommendation. However, I can see where the mixed reception is coming from and fully understand the game's current reputation as mixed. I just don't think it deserves it.